How you going, guys?
Yeah, really well,
Yeah,
thank
good,
you.
thanks.
How you keeping? What's the time over there?
It's 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
That's
okay. I've got my coffee. Ready
nice.
to go. What about you guys? What time is it there?
10:30.
10:30. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We've got another one at 11:30, but
Yeah, that's well past my bedtime.
yeah, yeah. You've got a whole hour to do whatever. So it's yeah. Take as long as you need.
I asked for the last interview so I could be.
And
It doesn't matter. I'm just teasing.
John let you down. John let you down.
John is but he is amazing. John, he's so good.
You know what? I've been really impressed with him. He's like,
Yeah.
you know, out of all the territories, he's smashing it. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah. So, well, this might be interesting with Ed here, actually, because I was about to ask you about joining the band and how you felt at that time, because you're coming into an established band.
Yeah, it was a tricky one actually. Like I guess I came in and I didn't really get a chance to really think about it too much. I think from word go, it was a case of all hands to the pump, try and learn as much as I could, because we had a tour coming up in Europe, and I didn't know any of the tracks that we were going to be playing. So my lyric retention on its own is terrible. So I spent a lot of time trying to going over and over and over and over and practicing with the band. But I guess that's kind of one dynamic in terms of joining a band that's already established. The other one is there's a lot of in-jokes. There's a lot of like not clickiness, but like there's stuff that comes up all the time that you're just like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's like 10 years of absolute bullshit has been stored up.
Yeah,
you have to
absolutely.
catch up on.
and it was exactly that. It was it took a while to kind of not gel, but just to understand really what was going on. And yeah, the guys are super nice. I think that's what the positive thing. There's no really like bad characters or anything in the band. They've always been like super nice to me. But it was a challenge.
Did you then have in jokes when Ed came back?
I think
It was all the same jokes.
I mean, it's been a couple of little ones, but like nothing like crazy, and they've been quite easy to pick up on because I think I took on like a decade of terrible jokes
Nonsense
versus like the few years that you weren't around for Ed. And we didn't do it as much really.
Well, you've really come together so well. It's gelled so nicely, and this latest album is fantastic. Congratulations!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That really means a lot. Honestly, it's we've worked really hard, but I guess more so it's like a really personal record. So I think to know that people are enjoying it and getting something out of it, it means a lot because a lot of heart and soul has gone into it, and yeah, it means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
And you boys, like, they don't talk about their feelings as much.
Yeah.
And here is a really cool band talking about their feelings, saying that it's okay to grieve, and I think the good thing about all these songs, it is personal, it is heartbreaking. I don't know how you're going to sing these songs live. Honestly.
I don't think we're going to be able to sing some of them at all because they're just, especially the last track, no way.
Yeah. And but then at the end there's that hope.
Yeah, that's been like I guess that's been a theme that we've used across a lot of our albums as well. There's always been hopefulness in it. I mean, there's a lot of dark times in people's lives, but there's always some positive at the end of it. You can always see beyond it, and I think it means a lot in terms of us getting that off our chest, the catharsis that is involved in, depression or anxiety or grief or whatever it is, mental health issues, you name it. If you can talk about it, even in song form, it's a way of getting it out. Because it's hard to talk in person. It's hard to like discuss it. I get why people don't, and I get why. And
especially like how men are brought up to not talk about stuff. It's like, I mean, this is something that we both personally deal with as men as well. As like it's not good, and it breeds a lot of just bad things. like across the board. And I think definitely on this record, like going back to the sort of the lines of hope in it that come through, I think especially when grieving, like the grief is so much worse when it's something that someone or something that really meant an awful lot to you. And I think the very fact that the harder you're grieving means the more positives there were earlier on, sort of things. So I think there are things to be like thankful about, the things that were good, that so you can focus on as well. So
yeah,
it's kind of about trying to balance that, I suppose.
Yeah. And of course now, you know, we've had over a year with this pandemic.
yeah,
And I think that's why this album really is so important, because unfortunately, and I know with friends and musicians here in Australia, we've had loss.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's I mean, especially in the creative industry, you get a lot of it. A lot of people with mental health issues, and obviously a lot of people in the industry haven't been able to work for a whole year. They've financially has been crippling for them, and not being able to see people and talk about those feelings, and not being able to see people and just have a hug and just like, you know, guys, I'm suffering, or be able to physically check in on people.
Yeah.
That's caused a lot of problems. And I think, you know, we were speaking recently about when we go back to playing shows, and the fact that I think people are going to really struggle. They're going to be in a room of 500, 1,000, or however many thousand people, and they might just be too overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think people have
much.
issues they don't see coming. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
quite overwhelming being in rooms with people that you don't necessarily realise.
I'm going to let you guys in on a big secret here in Melbourne. We've had shows since December.
Oh, you lucky, you lucky bugger.
I think the first time I hugged friends was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
This feels naughty.
I can't wait.
But first they are like seated, masked, and now, you know, the other week I went to a show and, you know, there were people moshing up the front, and it's like, yes.
Oh, that's going to be honestly amazing when it happens. I think, you know, we're going to it's going to be a big moment for us when we get back up there, because it's, you know, we use playing shows as a way to just get everything out. Like it's like releasing from your pores all of that negativity, or that rubbish that's built up over the time. So you know, we're suffering like everyone else. We need to get out and play shows, and it means a lot to be able to do that soon, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
I mean, hopefully in a not too distant future, because we'll have vaccine passports or whatever the governments will make us have. We can just show that and actually come into the country.
Yeah,
be interesting to see how it unfolds, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. And hopefully, you know, in a little while, especially after this album comes out, you won't have to have your full-time jobs. You can just
that'd be nice. I mean, that would be lovely. I mean, to be honest, it's actually, I find it quite a good thing.
It takes so much financial stress off being like a as a band, because as a band we've always made enough money to, like, for the band to function, to like be able to do all the stuff that we need to do, but it's never been like a money maker in terms of like paying ourselves money to, like, you know, make a living and stuff. So I think the very fact that we can all make a living outside of the band really takes a lot of stress out of the band. I mean, we can just focus on the good bits, focus on the creativity and the fun stuff. So, you know, I think it is good. It's good.
Where do you work?
I'm a television video editor, so I work in a dark room.
all day. And I run my own little business, so I do sort of project management for mostly IT firms, really. But it's not very interesting, but it's something that allows me to do the things I enjoy the most, and I think that's what people maybe who are looking to like sort of join the ladder of doing music. Get yourself in a position where you're comfortable. If you do take off, that's a really good thing. You can make obviously amazing money and a great living and enjoying yourself doing music. But it's I think we're in a good place with it. It's like I work to fund the things that I love. And
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what was different with the writing process this time to the previous albums? Of course, Ed's back on board.
Yeah. So that was, I guess that was the main sort of thing that was changed. We had to learn how to write together. There was a big process. We had to kind of, I guess we just tried a few things to start with. We tried to work independently because we don't live that close to each other. So firing ideas across to the band, firing ideas across to each other, and we were just getting such slow progress out of it. Not because the ideas weren't good, but mostly because it's so difficult to, I know, really understand what each of you are trying to achieve without.
Yeah, and you're kind of on different schedules and stuff, so you might not receive, like, you might get a WhatsApp message there with an idea, and it's like you might be in the middle of something else and you're just not in the mindset for it. So yeah, as soon as we started getting in a room together and being like, hey, this is what we're focusing on now, and just knuckling down on it and putting time aside for it, specifically for us both to be doing it at the same time, just when it was easy. It was really nice.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, that side of the process was totally cool. Lyrics were a little bit more difficult because you can't sit down next to somebody and write a set of lyrics together, like one line each sort of thing. It just doesn't work. It's quite a personal thing to do. So we found the best way to deal with that was to write drafts of full songs and then pass them over to each other and then kind of refine them from that point. So that was, vocally, that was the big difference. But we also did some, in the main songwriting, we actually tried some new stuff as well, especially on that last track, Lost, the title track, because it started from a vocal idea rather than the guitars and guitarists coming up with a full song and passing it over. We kind of put that seed in their heads, which it's probably the most collaborative song that we've ever written.
Yeah, and the vocals across the board were just pure collaboration. There'll be bits that you hear Paul singing that I've written, and you'll hear parts that I'm singing that Paul's written, and certainly throughout the whole thing you've heard all of the lines have been worked on between the two of us. So it was like proper collaboration, and that's not something I've ever done before, and it was really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said that was probably one of the hardest ones lyrically, and Lost was, I mean it's about our drummer's mum who passed away, so that was like a kind of like really kicked off the whole writing process for this album, and why we kind of went down the title Lost, because it framed that start. But to get the lyrics together for that, it wasn't a case of let's sit down, Ed and I, and then come up with how we think Lex is feeling. We spoke to him at length and wrote down a lot of stuff he was saying and tried to capture his own words rather than trying to make them up for him. So all of those lyrics in there are things he said about how he was feeling about losing his mum, and it was really difficult to do that and see and hear from a really good friend, one of your closest mates, how they were suffering so much.
Yeah.
And how did he take the song? How did he feel?
So I guess when we kicked it off, I tried to run it past him at every single stage. So it was a case of, this is the idea, because it started with the chorus that repeats throughout it, and then said, I want to do something. Well, we want to do something. We want to write a song for you and your mum. And after I spoke to him, we kind of put those lyrics to him, and every single little demo section was, I needed his sign off. I needed his blessing, because it's such a personal thing. It's not something you can get wrong. If it wasn't good enough, if it came across cheesy, if it came across it was too hurtful for him, then I think it wouldn't have been on the album. But I think we haven't really discussed it, whether how he actually feels about it, if I'm honest. But I really hope he's proud of it, because it means a lot to us.
And I mean, it speaks a lot of sort of broader truths in terms of, like, we can all relate to exactly what he's going through. Well, not exactly in terms of his specifics, but just in terms of navigating grief and stuff. It's just a horrible thing he's going through, and we can kind of sort of feel similar things through things that we've gone through as well. So
it's a tough one. When we put it to the A&R, senior A&R, who's our who was our label boss at our last record, and he's now Nuclear Blast senior A&R. Bardi, he'd lost his mum. I said within the last 5 years. I can't remember exactly when. And he said he just couldn't listen to the song to start with. He had to go stop and kind of take a breather. And it's, you know, it's not a reaction I want to get from people at all. I really don't want to upset people with this. It's not at all how we intend things to be. But we definitely want people to resonate, and if it helps people,
and sort of view it as like a catharsis kind of thing, like getting stuff off your chest. Like when that song kicks in at the end after that sort of little ambient gap, it really feels, to me at least anyway, like it's like just the culmination of everything throughout the album before it just like kicking off. And whenever that kicks in, I always like start welling up a little bit.
It's tough to.
I think though, it does resonate, and it helps, like, such a part of the grieving process to actually cry. And
I've cried a lot listening to it and writing it and everything. I find talking about it now really hard to not choke up a bit. Honestly, I find it really, I really struggle. But and it's funny because I can talk about one from our previous record, our CP, which is about my grandfather, and like I wrote that song about him when he passed, and I found that really like a really good experience for me, writing that down and getting that out of my chest, out of my head. But when I'm writing about somebody else's grief, I can't help but visualize how that would make me feel, and that really hurts. Like to even think about how I can't even comprehend. So I really feel for you, Mary, and also and obviously Lex and Bardi are A&R. I couldn't even imagine losing a parent. It's
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of empathy, and it shows in your songs. Let's get back to the album. You won't go too far, but I really love some of the lyrics. Burdened was probably one of my favorites. You're talking about, well, it takes its toll to hope anymore, but then you do leave us with a bit of hope at the end.
Yeah, that's our vibe.
Yeah,
that's how we do it.
Yeah,
bring you down and pick you back up.
The video clips are great too.
Yeah, we're really happy with them.
Ed did all of like the adverts and stuff as well for it. So like I think you did such a good job on those, man. It's
well, really putting together other people's work, so it's not that hard.
They sold it to me, trust me. But we're really grateful. We managed to like get those videos sorted out. It was during lockdown, but because we're a business, Devil is, you can legally do stuff, and video shoots, photo shoots were still allowed. So we were just really careful with our like distancing and stuff. So that's why there's a lot of solo shots.
Yeah, and in the Beyond Reach one, we're all pretty far apart from each other and stuff. So.
Yeah, we tried to make sure that we behaved ourselves massively. It was tough to get everything organized in such a short amount of time, because it was like, okay, right, we are launching in 2 months or something, and it's like
because we kind of did it a bit backwards in the sense that we wanted to go to labels with the album like completely finished. We didn't want to go in with any ambiguity. We just wanted to go, here's the album, here's the masters, this is what it sounds like. You don't need to imagine what we're gonna do. It's just, you either like it or you don't. And it was nice to do that, but what it did mean was that we got a label after we got the masters, which means then our lead time came from the point that we signed contracts rather than signing them up front. And your lead time can come quite quickly after. You can be doing a load of stuff before you've even finished recording the album, or you can got your masters back. Like you can be doing music videos before your masters are back, because the songs aren't going to change and stuff like that. But it meant that we had to cram a shitload of stuff in really in a short period of time, and Paul did like this amazing job of just orchestrating all of it, really.
That's all I can do. I'm not particularly artistic outside of it. So Ed's done the videos, Lex has done the all the layout, every bit of graphic design, and all the photography has been done by our guitarist Rick. So I'm like, I can't do that. And the
recording and mixing, obviously, all done by our guitarist.
Yeah, sorry, you missed that one out.
Like we've kind of gone at it as much as we can, like internally, which has been really, really quite fulfilling, I think, actually.
Yeah, it feels really personal, not only because of the content, but because of how we've approached the actual whole project.
it is a personal project, really, but you really connect with your fans. Like, I was looking at your Instagram account, and you've got the little clips of how you made the album, or you spoke about parts of it. That was excellent.
Oh, cool. I'm glad that's gone down well, because it's one of those bits you can come across sometimes as maybe you always worry you're going to come across as maybe it's I know you don't sound good on it. I hate listening to my own voice on that sort of stuff. So it's always it's a bit funny one. And with I was so tired that day, so I think it took me about 4 or 5 videos to get my mouth in warmed up and ready to go. So I remember bumbling along for about 7 or 8 takes for a few of them.
But I think the reason why Nuclear Blast wanted to do those, because obviously we've been away for a while. So I mean, we've been a band like 17 years, and it'd been a while since, like, it was 2014, I think the last EP was put out. So it was really a case of like sort of reintroducing ourselves and just talking about like the whole process and introducing ourselves to new people. I think just so people can get an idea of who we are.
That's great. How does it feel being on Nuclear Blast? Because that's amazing.
It's so good.
They're sick. They're so awesome. So awesome.
They've just looked after us from day one. I mean, we're kind of used to having a few people maybe work on a release, but we've got a full team of 4 who are like at the core Nuclear Blast sort of base, and then we've got John, who's dealing with like the Australian press, and we've got Kristen in the US. So we've got territorial people as well, which is absolutely mental.
And all the people that are doing sort of day-to-day stuff who are being like given like work from those people. It's amazing. Like, they're like, we've got such an awesome team, and they've really looked after us. And like, obviously, like, we're probably one of the by far one of the smaller bands on the label, but they've never treated us as such. They've always like treated us with a lot of respect, and a lot of like, they've given us a lot of all the creative kind of decisions that we've wanted, really.
Yeah.
It's just been a really awesome experience.
I'm terrible.
It's funny just how on like the complete opposite end of the spectrum we are here. Because so basically today, me and Paul have been in a warehouse in Reading, which is about 2 hours away from where I live and about an hour and a half from where he lives, repackaging all of our vinyls because the pressing was bad. And it's all we're on a bank holiday weekend now, so Friday through to Monday there's like nothing going on. And everything's being shipped on Tuesday. So it's like we had to be in today just replacing all of the vinyls.
Yeah.
We spent 7 hours and we're just absolutely shattered in the moment.
Without a break as well. It was like literally non-stop.
Yeah.
Open, change, repack. It's just...
then drive 2 hours, get home, cook, like unload all the knackered vinyls, cook, have a shower, get straight on press. It's been a pretty crazy day, actually.
Yeah. You could have rescheduled.
No, it's good.
Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be like a moan. I thought it was funny how we're just on total ends of the day spectrum here.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well, it's good that I've got both of you, because with this album, you've got the vocals and you've got Ed, you're the cleans, and then Paul, you're the dirties.
The days we do both. We do both.
Yeah, we're both singing and screaming throughout.
Yeah. So it's I think that's good. But the cleans and dirties, that is
again.
This has been a lot of fun for me, because I keep putting out things from interviews and little sayings and just dropping them into Wikipedia. Just dropping them in there, just
to annoy me.
Ed is Master Ed of the thematrical vocals. Cleans and dirties.
Basically just littering our Wikipedia with like in-jokes that no one's gonna get.
When did you guys meet?
So we've met over the years, I guess, quite a few times, but not really in a terms of like, let's get working on some music together, really. So I think that probably the first time Devil and my other band, the Reach Record, played together was maybe the Face Bar in Reading.
Must have been
2008 or something, 2008 or 9, something around there. Maybe 2007, who knows? Because it might be in a Fragile Hope era. So
yeah, I think it would have been.
Yeah. So
was that with Exeter 10 potentially?
No, it would have been with like Fake
Modo. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
and there's a really sweaty guy doing sound.
He's not a good sound guy. Yeah, he's very angry. About everything.
He was.
So that was like, so we kind of met quite a few times back then, really, but I don't think we really talked too much.
No, I mean, I'm an incredibly shy person, so especially back then, I would have been walking around looking at my feet the whole time, I think. So that didn't meet a lot of people for years.
And my band were just too busy getting drunk all the time, so that's probably we didn't get a chance to meet. But we've changed. We're changed. The Leaf says me drinking a beer, but yeah, no, I think that was when we kind of really first met, those sorts of times in the scene, and then really like started kind of hanging out. Obviously, when we actually got together for the Fragile Hope 10 shows, their 10th anniversary. That's 2017. So yeah, that was really the first time we kind of really connected with it all.
But we both got on like super well. We became like really close really quickly. Like, yeah, it was just awesome. And like there was no kind of like stepping on feet kind of feelings at all. It just felt really nice to share the position rather than like go at it by yourselves. Like every single night before those Fragile Hope shows, like we came on a little bit later because it was quite like an extended intro and everyone's getting their shit together. Me and Paul would always just have like a big hug before we came on stage. It was awesome.
It's good, man. It's a brothership, and like we almost like we're sharing the same. We're sharing the burden that a singer can get, but also sharing the fun stuff. So I guess it's, you know, we're really lucky to have that, because you know it can be tough being a vocalist. Not, I mean, you get like to do really cool stuff like the interviews like this, but you also get a lot of stick online. I mean, no one's saying about who's the best guitarist. Nobody's giving a guitarist stick.
Yeah, no one's going, oh, that guitarist whack. But yeah, as a vocalist, you get a lot of stuff aimed at you, which is it's not very fun.
It's usually really personal as well, isn't it?
It's really hard not to take it personally when someone is literally saying your name and saying horrible stuff about you. It's the internet though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? But oh well, we double team that, so we're all good. When Ed came back for those shows, it just got better. Like the sound, having two vocals in there, and the vibe as well. It
was just fun, I think. Yeah. Like there was no real reason for two vocalists in this band, I suppose. We just do it because we enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows in the music. I think we were able to like up our game and do extra harmonies that actually are with two vocals, not just harmonizing with yourself, and all those bits that add richness to the sound, which you kind of it sounded good on the old records, but I think this one, it gives you more, and that's something I'm really proud of.
Definitely, you should definitely be proud of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave you with two questions. Firstly, how would you describe your sound in food form?
Wow. I'm gonna go in there with like ice cream, jelly. What else are we gonna throw? We're gonna mix this up into like a big old bowl of different foods, because I don't think
I just came back in on big bowl of different foods because I just plugged my laptop.
I was saying, I reckon a bit of ice cream in there, cheeky ice cream, a bit of cheeky jelly, maybe a bit of dog food. I'm really struggling with this one, but definitely the first two, not the dog food. That can go off.
Maybe like a real rich, deep, earthy stew
with
the ice cream and the jelly.
Oh yeah.
What is that? Beautiful.
Yeah,
it's stuff. I guess like the reason I say ice cream is like that whole cold atmospheric that comes across everything.
Okay.
But it's just trying to put some texture to this, and the jelly for the bit of fun, the kind of the uplifting bounce that you get on stuff. Oh.
What colour is jelly? What flavour?
I'm going red. I'm going red.
Red jelly, not even flavoured.
No, just because the red stuff usually, like, it used to make me really hyperactive as a kid. So that kind of, that's how I'm feeling, just a bounce.
Yeah, that's great. And what is your scene?
What's my scene? My scene is the cricket and gardening scene. In truth, like I obviously I love the music scene. I love the technical progressive metal scene and what we do and more atmospheric and post-like. But in all honesty, like outside of music, my scene is is just trying to enjoy the time away from everything and just clear your mind, and being out in the garden is my scene. As sad as that is, I love it.
I mean, my scene is like computer games, and like recently in the past few years got into snowboarding, but for the exact same reason that Paul just suggested, like it completely clears your mind. It's having those sort of hobbies outside of just like day-to-day life that really just allows you to just zone out and just you know, enjoy what you're doing with absolutely no depth whatsoever. It's just you're there in the moment.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. So thank you for
the interview.
Thanks for your kind words as well about the album. And
right.
It's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah, it really has, honestly.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Take care, Mary. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
What's my sin? What's my sin?